This week in the Regency, it's fashions for October. And we're staying in 1819. But today we're off to Scotland. No, not really. We're still using, it turns out, La Belle Assemblée as our source document, but we're taking it from the Caledonian Mercury. And I will explain why later. Parisian evening costume. Round dress of white watered gros de Naples, flounced in a festoon of very broad lace of a rich pattern, surmounted by full-blown blush roses, we're still with the blush color, and orange flower blossoms. The hair arranged in full curls and bound round with pearls and ears of ripe corn. Okay, so we're in autumn. And so the theme is clearly about the fruits of the harvest. Bouquet of orange flowers on the left side of the bust. Necklace of pearls fastened before, so here, with a cameo à l'antique. À l'antique would mean like cameos as seen in ancient civilizations like Rome. Earrings à l'étoile, that star, short sleeves, white kid gloves, white satin shoes, and carved cedar fan. The above dress is the faithful representation of the bridal attire of a lady of rank for returning her congratulatory visits on her late marriage. It does not mean that her marriage is dead. It means that it's just happened. So we're seeing, again, the big thing around the hem, and that goes on for our next one. Evening dress. Now, in La Belle Assemblée, this is called English. Like the first one was French, the second one is English. Dress of fine net over white satin. So it looked like everybody's still wearing white. Richly flounced with double festoons, double, of very broad blonde, so extremely expensive. The lower festoon interspersed with full-blown roses. So again, we're at the end of summer, beginning of autumn. The upper one surmounted by lilies of the valley. Plume headdress. Now, I just have to say the lilies of the valley, I think, have to be fake. So the roses probably are as well, because lilies of the valley are a spring flower, spring and summer flower, not an autumn flower. Plume headdress consisting of numerous white down feathers floating over the hair, arranged in full curls and depending, that means coming down, partially over the left side of the head. Diamond earrings and necklace, white satin shoes, and white kid gloves with carved ivory fan. Because it's diamond earrings and necklaces, and there's so much lace, and there's full-blown roses, we can see this is actually a dress not for a debutante, it's a dress for a matron, somebody who's married or of older years. A white satin body is worn with this dress, which, with the short sleeves of lace and satin, are ornamented to correspond with the border of the dress. So we can see that that idea of the big hem that we've been seeing over the last few months is still going strong, that's where the focus of the dress is. There's nothing particularly exciting in either of these, I didn't think. You know, it's much of what we've seen before. Lots of lace, lots of satin, lots of things, flowers, you know. The only thing unusual was the corn, which I guess is the autumn thing, and I wonder how many people actually wore corn. Or whether that was just a little affectation by Mrs. Bell, who, of course, created these. So I went and I had a look at the more general fashion notes for the month, because this stuff wasn't so exciting. And what I found interesting was some of the things. Earlier in the magazine, they talk about how everybody's going off to the seaside in this month. So remembering that the October fashions are actually in the September edition of the magazine, and so it's the end of summer. And it talks about everybody going off to the seaside, and there's quite a lot of talk about marine blue. And I love this one. The marine turban cap is also a favourite headdress for the public rooms or evening parties. It is of fine blonde net, and in this case, blonde doesn't mean lace, it means the colour. A fine blonde net and pink satin. The crown elegantly ornamented with the figure of a starfish in pink satin. I want that cap. I want it now. I might have to see if I can make one. The points surrounded by pearls of full-blown rose with 2 drooping crimped feathers au renard finish this beautiful coiffure. Now, au renard means like a fox. And one has to assume it's the shape of the fox's tail when it holds it high. So clearly the drooping feathers and the kind of weird ornaments are the thing at the moment. But the other thing that was really, the word kept coming up was the word Caledonian. The summer Caledonian cap is also a favourite carriage headdress. Some of these caps are of gossamer down velvet. That sounds nice, doesn't it? An entire new article, the colour of the full-blown peach blossom. I really love the sound of that. And these caps are finished by superb highland plumes of white feathers. So again, we've got the feathers. The other thing I talk about is Caledonian silk, which is a new manufacture. I can't track that down. Why are they calling everything Caledonian, and what is a Caledonian cap? Okay, so women in Scotland, Caledonian means from Scotland, specifically more from the Highlands of Scotland, the north and the Highlands, and women at the time didn't wear caps. We're not noble women anyway. The common woman would wear something like this, which is called a kerch, as in a kerchief. But it was the men who wore the caps, and they were of 2 main kinds. That was the Glengarry cap and the Balmoral cap, and also the Tam O'Shanter, which we've seen in other magazine editions that they call it that. So I don't think that's what the summer Caledonian cap is. So which of these 2 was it based on? Well, this is the Balmoral cap. It's pretty ordinary, a bit hard to stick feathers on it. On the other hand, the Caledonian cap does have feathers already, and I suspect that it was based on this, even though it's not really a thing for women to wear in Scotland. What we can be sure of is that it didn't look like this, because the tartan at this point wasn't really being worn. You had a risk of being labelled a Jacobite if you wore tartan in England, so people didn't do it. People did it very rarely in Scotland at the time. The laws had been relaxed by this stage, allowing people to wear tartan, but it really didn't get going until 1822 when the Prince Regent visited and wore a kilt. So why is everything Caledonian? Caledonian cap, Caledonian silk, and even something like Glasgow, the Glasgow cap as well, which, the Glasgow style is referenced. So why is everything Scottish so popular in October of 1819? Well, it's probably all because of this guy. His name is Sir Walter Scott, and he is incredibly popular as a novelist at this point. Huge bestseller, huge, hard to overestimate it. And indeed, that's one of the reasons the Prince Regent got interested in going to Scotland. So in 1819, he publishes The Bride of Lammermoor. And this is a Romeo and Juliet story. It's hugely melodramatic. this is an image from a later edition. It's a Romeo and Juliet story, Lucy and Edgar. Their families are enemies and they fall in love, which is fine, and they want her to marry somebody else, and all that kind of stuff. And you would think that maybe we would have a happy ending. No, we don't. The end of the book, Lucy's forced to marry somebody else whom she stabs on their wedding night, and then he doesn't actually die. She goes insane and dies, apparently dies from insanity. Her brother challenges Edgar to a duel, and he goes, yeah, okay, what have I got to lose? I might as well die because she's dead. Oh, but the duel never happens, because on the way to riding to the duel, he drowns in quicksand in Scotland. So this is a very popular book. It was the third installment of a series, and all things Scottish were very popular. So we can blame Sir Walter Scott for the Caledonian cap, whatever that is, and the Caledonian silk, whatever that is. And you'll note in this that Lucy is wearing the plaid, the tartan, which at the time when this book was set, which is earlier than the Regency, would have been illegal for her to do. But who cares about that? So I had a lot of trouble getting over the quicksand thing. But that's probably where all the Caledonian stuff comes from. It's very much about the Highlands, not the Lowlands. And Sir Walter Scott milked that cow for everything that it was worth. That's this week in the Regency. If you want more kind of gossip culture from the Regency, you can always sign up to my Substack blog, get a free romance novel. Regency, of course. And obviously, we would love you to subscribe to this channel. I'm Elizabeth Layden. I'll see you next week in the Regency.